Caps for Sale. This is a book I remember from when I was a kid. Caps for Sale by Esphyr Slobodkina. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them up on his head. First he had on his own checkered cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight so as not to upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street, calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap, which is Miss Anderson's favorite color. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said, and he walked out of town slowly, slowly, so as not to upset his caps. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he, and he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disrupt the caps on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. Checking up there, are they all straight? First his own checkered cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But what do you notice? What is missing? But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. All he felt with it was his own checkered cap. He looked to the right of him. No caps. He looked to the left of him. No caps. He looked in back of him. No caps. He looked behind the tree. No caps. Where do you think his caps could have gone? Do you think you have any ideas? Let's find out. Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? What do you think? What did he see? Do you think he saw his caps? How do you think his caps could have gotten up into the tree? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking his fist before them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss, tss." This made the peddler angry, so he shook both hands at them. "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook both their hands at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet, looked at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry. He stamped both his feet and he shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." What could he do? How is he going to get his caps back? Any ideas? What do the monkeys do each time he does something? What could he do? At last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and he threw it on the ground and began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap, its cap, and all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own checkered cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." I like this story. It's a silly story. It's also a story about caps. Be watching. There's going to probably be a hat making project coming up.